Andrew Kreisberg had teased that one of the biggest moments of Arrow actually happens in the Flash hour of the crossover. What can you tease about that and how it impacts Oliver going forward?
It was my idea.
What can you tell us about your idea then?
I can't tell you anything about it other than it relates to Central City, and it is when I saw it in the Flash script, it ended up being really actually quite gratifying that, first of all, I say it was my idea. Everyone has ideas all the time. It all goes into a melting pot. I just thought that it would be a cool idea if we ever did. I thought it would be a cool idea for the Flash. It ended up being a cool idea that we were able to utilize me for because we were doing a crossover with the Flash. So it was very professionally gratifying, and I just spoke with Glenn Winter on Wednesday. We were actually shooting some stuff for episode 308, which is our Flash crossover episode. And he said that he had seen a cut, and it was his favorite thing that I had been involved in so far on the show. And he's been around since the Hawk.
So does it have anything to do with Oliver's child?
I can't say anything about what it has to do.
Okay.
Other than it is a, you know, the crossovers are very much, we are very much guests in Central City, and very much the road team in Central City. Just as much as Grant and the whole Flash team are guests here. And we talk and we delve into the differences between Central City and Starling City. But this particular moment is very much an Arrow-centric moment.
Now, what can you tease about these character interactions in the crossover episode? What was the most exciting dynamic to see played out?
Well, it was me and Grant, because episode 108 is called Flash versus Arrow. So if you know, our titles aren't just titles. You can always extrapolate. You can bet based on the title that we fight. So that whole dynamic, which took place over 3 nights of shooting, was a very new and different experience for me, just from a technical standpoint, because the Flash has so many effects. You know, we do our fights. We are on Monday shooting the biggest fight that we've ever done on Arrow in an incredibly practical way. I'm shooting 100% of it. I have no double, and it's on top of Grouse Mountain up here. So that's crazy, and that's us. This was them. I actually had to do a move where I'm going to punch, and I had to punch in slow motion, and literally do slow motion faces, all that stuff. But all the little things are. You could tell that the writers had been waiting for the opportunity to mix these worlds and mix certain characters for a long time. I personally really enjoyed working with Carlos. He's just a very, very fun character, and I think that one of the most interesting parts about the whole crossover is an observation that Oliver makes about Harrison Wells.
Action aside, can you tease a little bit about what other ways that you and the Flash are kind of like going toe to toe, like psychologically? Is it all principle?
That's the thing. Central City and Starling City are very different places. So when I go to Central City, it's very much, all right, I'll tag along, we'll do things your way, and then the very next night in our episode, it's, I'm sorry, we're not in Central City anymore, we're doing things my way. Things are different here. So it's a really interesting checkpoint for both shows, because we're able to teach these big lessons to the characters. So hopefully Oliver comes out of his trip to Central City having learned something, and Grant comes out of his trip to Starling City having learned something as well. That being said, the unequivocal highlight of the entire crossover for me is David Ramsey. I could not keep a straight face during any of David Ramsey's lines during the crossover to the Flash. It destroyed me.
Was it things Biggles observing about the Flash world?
Yes.
Well, does that mean more Oliver smiling in the Flash episode as well, or?
No. Well, Oliver is very much a. It's interesting. Oliver is. He is opening up, and we saw it in the premiere a little bit that he was a little bit happier. Obviously, we're putting that on hold for the time being, which is a slight disappointment that I didn't get to exercise my cheeks a little bit more before we dropped Canary off of a roof. But it's interesting that Oliver is a little bit the curmudgeon when it comes to Barry, but it's because he's overly enthusiastic when it comes to being around me. So my default is to be a little bit more cynical. I think that our characters, when we're not together, are a little bit more towards the center.